For every myth we have in the Greek tradition of the hero, we have an equal myth of hubris. Hubris is when you try to be the gods and the god, like Icarus. You try to fly to the sun and right. You try to, or Phaeton, you try to steer the chariot of the sun, and and Zeus has to kill you, right? All that,
right? Humility, basically.
Right, and Socratic humility, right? Yeah, I mean, one way of understanding the human task is to keep a hold on both the fact that we're finite, we're prone to error, self-deception, and unforeseen fate. But we're not just animals, we're also called to virtue. We have a capacity to transcend, and we have to hold the finitude and the transcendence together. If we just do the transcendence, we can fall prey to thinking we're gods, and then the hubris falls. And that's what a lot of these thought leaders do. And then on the other hand, but if we don't give people something, they can just collapse into their finitude, and then they're subject to tyranny and servitude and despair. And Plato is all about trying. He uses Socrates to represent somebody who Socrates described himself as metaxou, between. He was always holding those two together. And so I try to take on the responsibility you've put your finger on and I try to live it that way. And so, I mean, one of the things people say to me, and it's really a profound compliment for me. A lot of people say, John, you gave me the vocabulary, like you were talking about a few minutes ago, to talk about this, to think about it, to talk to other people about it. But I have to balance that off with a tendency to get too self-absorbed in my own terminology.
And that's the fallacy. It's one of the, I don't know if the fallacy is a word, but not wiener. I'm talking about the other thing.
Which one?
Like a confusion fallacy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the fallacies of just being human. It's like you can, if when things start to go well, this happened to me before in my life. I started to get some popularity and things seemed like they were going good. And there was a moment where I was like, well, I started asking myself, does God have some special plan for me? You know, which is a dangerous thing to start asking yourself. It's okay to ask, to be curious and see if, you know, how I can be of service. But part of that gets real tricky because then you start thinking you have some special power, and that's where it can just get scary. And I think it's just being human. It's part of that's what that fulcrum is right there, is just trying to keep that even, you know?
And Theo, I think about this daily. I have an amazing team of people around me. I have a non-for-profit organization, the Vervaeke Foundation, that keeps the money and the power at an arm's length from me. I'm not in charge of it. I have a bunch of people around me who have been given ongoing, non-negotiable permission to tell me if I'm starting to believe my own bullshit.
Hey, you don't strike me as that person at all.
Well,
I wasn't trying to say that.
No.
I'm just trying to examine this. It's really interesting. I examine it for myself sometimes because I have people that will say, hey man, you really helped me with this, or you've helped me
and that's good.
Think about those things. Right. It makes me feel like I'm being of service. Right.
Yeah.
But then I have to be careful that I don't let that leave the room with me.
Yeah. It's like beautiful music, right?
Yeah.
You joy in it while it's happening because somebody is sharing with you.
Right.
Right. And you don't want to rain on somebody when they're sharing with you because they need that. But it's like music. When the song's done, Don't keep hemming to yourself as you leave, right?
Yeah, don't put your AirPods in.
John is great. Yeah.